Sports fans, welcome to episode 222 of The War Room. In this episode, we talk about the Patriots and people trying to say that it's over for Tom Brady and whether it really is over for Tom Brady. We talk about the NFC East and the resurgence of the Cowboys as well as the Eagles. And we pretty much go into everything going on in the Major League Baseball playoffs as well as this NFL season that's taking place. Sit back and enjoy episode 222 of The War Room.
Blog Talk Radio.
Cut a check.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Ted, Chill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war ain't can wait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
Yes, sir. We are. Greetings, Earthlings. You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on that WRS Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan, and I'm here with my brother Jimmy the Blueprint. Yo, hockey is back. Basketball is coming. Football is heating up. And we're another round closer to the World Series. So join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports, because as usual, we want to hear from you guys as well during the show. So you can also call us directly when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number, as usual, is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, you know what we do every week. We got to remind you guys to check out the great shows going on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. You can get in there from our main site, warroomsports.com, or you can get there directly at WRSPN.com. You'll find shows such as our show, The War Room. You'll find the Broad Street Lines with hosts Roy Burton and Chris Domingo. You'll find shows such as the Broad Street Line with Anthony Green and the homie Brandon Pemberton. Sports Trap Radio with Brandon Pemberton and Anthony Green. The Season Ticket with Mojo and the Fellas, and a whole lot more. You can also check the listings at fatsradio.com. That's PHATZ radio.com for air times of all your favorite WRSPN sports shows, including our show, The War Room, which airs over there Sundays and Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Jim, what's up, man? Yo, I got a question for you, man.
Bro?
This whole Ebola thing that's going around, the panic that everybody is starting to go through. Yo, did you hear about the dude in Dallas who came into the country after he, quote unquote, lied to Liberian officials at that airport over there? Yo, he's dead now. What's up with that?
Yeah, I know. I thought they had that special sauce that they use on them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yo, no doubt. Like, I heard, because remember when they used it on those doctors that came back, they tried to make a point of saying, we don't have any more. Everybody know that's BS. Everybody know, that's a money thing. It's nothing they can get out of giving this stuff away for free. But I don't think, they thought there was going to be any more cases besides those two. But I've heard a lot of talking about this particular case, and, of course, there's some uproar because the guy who died was black. Now, do you think that had anything to do with it? And what's up, B. Austin? What's going on? But, Jim, you think it had anything to do with the whole thing, with dude being black?
Always, man. Race always matters. Like Martin said on Boomerang, man, they're afraid of black balls, man.
It is ironic, man. At the same time, what I realized when that situation first started is that they were going to treat dude, like, had he lived, they were going to treat dude like a criminal because they view him as somebody, who lied to get back into the country and potentially put a lot of people's lives at risk. So I was kind of expecting, I didn't know they were just going to let the dude die. I thought maybe they were going to give him that special sauce and then maybe treat him, put him up in the court system after that for doing what he did, if indeed, he did this on purpose.
It was like FOA, just go away.
What do you think, B. Austin? Is it a race thing or is it a criminal thing? They just said you're going to let this criminal die.
Well, in certain circles, what's the difference between a black man and a criminal? Becomes the question.
Zing!
But that's a whole nother topic. I'm going to say this: I don't believe in a lot of cases in this world in what I'd like to call malicious racism, which is I literally hate you because you are something else. What I believe is there's a lot of kind of covert, sort of behind the back racism that's institutionalized. It's kind of in our cultures based on the way we grow up. And how does that relate to this gentleman with the Ebola? Well, what really is the value of a black man's life? When you, especially in American culture, how do they really view it? So it's kind of like, it's not so much that they hate black people or whatever, but he is synonymous with everything else that comes with black culture and what people perceive black people to be, which isn't rich, which isn't wealthy unless you're an athlete or an entertainer. So, he probably wasn't that valuable, and he did lie. To be honest, he did potentially put millions and millions of people in jeopardy. So, you couldn't make that case. You could have that conversation, but why couldn't you treat him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could treat him and then, then put him up in the system. That's what I thought may have happened. We got Casey Mack in the chat room. He has some insight on it because he is down in the Dallas area. But we're going to talk about some sports right now because this is about to turn into Malcolm X Radio. So I'm going to let y'all know what happened this week besides this while y'all were on the grind. And as usual, On the Grind is brought to you by DirecTV. If you'd like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, Verizon Fios, stop knocking on my door. Go to our website, warroomsports.com, click on the DirecTV logo, and order a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV, especially if you call yourself a football fan. You got to have DirecTV. All right, speaking of Ebola, the Jacksonville Jags had to apologize this week, not for just the way that they play on the football field, because they should apologize for the way they play on the football field, but they apologized because during the game with the Steelers, everybody knows that, the Steelers and the terrible towel is a big thing with the Steelers. So the Jags mascot held a terrible towel in his right hand, and in his left hand he had a big handwritten sign that said, "Towels carry Ebola." So they later on apologized to this, saying, improvisation and humor have both been key elements of the character of Jackson DeVille, that's his name, especially at home games. On Sunday, the person who played Jackson over the past 20 seasons made an extremely poor decision in that regard. What do you guys think about the mascot holding up a sign that says "Towels carry Ebola"? Big deal or no?
It was too early. I mean, I'm as we all know, you've listened to the show, listeners, and to our new listeners, we do on this show have a brand of sharp humor. So I'm of the opinion that really there is nothing that's off limits to laugh at. But sometimes you do have to be sensitive to how the rest of the world will perceive things. Just because you'll laugh at anything doesn't mean that everybody else will find it funny. So he should have known that it was too soon. I laugh at my own mom and dad, and I love them to death. Laugh at my kids, laugh at my wife, make fun of all of y'all that listen to us and love us, and we love you right back, but you still funny. So anything can be laughed at, but it was too early. I'm right there with you, so I'm not going to add too much to what you said because you basically said it perfectly. Anybody listening to us know what it is. However, at a time where you do have probably millions of people a little bit on edge about this whole thing, I think, you have to use your better judgment. Nobody's running around, and this is, HIV and AIDS has been around for, a few decades now, and I would doubt that, the mascot would hold up a sign saying, "Towels carry HIV" or something like that. Better judgment wasn't used. Of course I giggle. Of course, but
exactly. That's where I was going with it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't shed a thug tear laughing, but it is inappropriate at the end of the day. Like, people are scared right now. People are dying, and it's just
I'm scared.
That was inappropriate, y'all.
Yo, I'm scared, Jim. Like, I keep asking people how you get it, because I'm trying to get back on the basketball court, but now I don't want nobody sweat rubbing up against me. Like, I don't know what's, I'm a little ignorant.
No, it is
I'm a little ignorant right now.
It is transmitted via bodily fluids, but it is not aerial transmitted. So you got to swap bodily fluids, and either one of y'all can take the joke that I just threw up as an alley-oop or dunk it.
I ain't messing with it.
It's not an aerial porn.
I've been using it as an excuse not to go to the gym. Like, I want to go, but I ain't trying to catch Ebola.
I don't want to catch Ebola.
But think about it. Think about it, though, B. Austin. Because, you know, my wife is like 16 times smarter than me. So I was grilling her last night, you know, because I say a bunch of ignorant stuff, and she always got to correct me. So I started asking her.
She got the cure? She thought up the cure?
She might have, but I was asking her, you know, how do you contract it and stuff like that, and she was telling me what I should and shouldn't be afraid of. But then, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, you play ball. She doesn't really have that experience. She never played ball before. So, like, you play ball and you got sweaty dudes, like, you know, touching you and all that stuff. No hills, Mo. But think about it. Like, if I just got somebody's sweat on my hand somehow and I rub my eye, like, am I in danger just because of that little act? Like, I'm nervous. So I can see how, you know, an apology is probably needed because you got people, and that might not be a way. But you can't tell people that right now because we're scared, you know. That media panic.
You too old to be rubbing your eye.
Hey, things happen, man. Eyelash in your eye, things happen.
Matt Casey Mack is in the chat room, and he was like, it's only relevant in Dallas. No one outside us is feeling the effects. I don't know about that. He said it's serious. You know, he does for a living. He's riding one of those ambulances. So, you know, shout out to everybody out there, you know, dealing with it, you know, on a different level. But people are dealing with it. People are scared, man, like, even outside of Dallas. Not saying they should be, but it is what it is.
So
sensationalism runs the world these days.
Yeah, but I think because we do live in a climate where there's media everywhere, there's Google everywhere, so it's like anything you're nervous about, you can go to Google, read something, misinterpret what you read, and get even more scared. I do that all the time when I'm sick. Like, you know, doctor told me something a few weeks ago. I started looking at stuff that had nothing to do with what he told me, but I put two and two together any way I wanted to and then started getting scared. So that's the world we live in. So I think because of that, because we all know that, I pretty much think Jackson DeVille, man. I think. Not only because of that, also because you wear a 7-foot Jaguar teddy bear costume in like 90-degree weather. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You should also be ashamed of yourself for that as a grown man. You're doing it for 20
All right, look,
years.
Man. Your man Adrian Peterson, man, he's staying in the news. You know, December 1st is his trial date for his whole child abuse thing. But now there's reports coming out. They're digging up old stuff from my man because they don't have anything better to do. They're saying that Adrian Peterson, one of his family members, used a credit card from his charity, from his foundation. I think it's called the All Day, Adrian Peterson's All Day Foundation. They used a company credit card to pay for a room where an orgy took place in 2011. I don't even know what to ask you dudes about something like this, man. What's up with AP misappropriating funds from the charity? You give to the All Day Foundation, you might be funding a brothel. So what do y'all think about that?
I'm gonna keep it a trillion and just try and pass without saying too much because anything I say can and will be held against me in a court of law.
Yeah, wait. Before you speak, just remember that we have a foundation that's going to be starting in 2015. Don't mess up our donations right now. What you said.
No. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just not going to say anything because I just can't say nothing. Go ahead, Jimmy. I wasted about 30 seconds there. Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is, man, look, Trish Nathaniel goes down. But at the end of the day, right, with this whole story, it's like they're looking for any reason to just hang this man. Like, he got himself in some trouble. They're digging up things from the past. He's under a microscope right now. My man is getting drug tests even though he's not playing. They're like, they're doing everything in their power to kind of like, destroy this man. And the thing is, he gave him the rope to hang him anyway. So, but Tristan Daniel goes down. You got to watch that misappropriation of funds, man. The thing about nonprofits, and the people don't realize this, there's so much profit in nonprofits. A lot of times when you donate to them, you don't know where their money goes. But the thing is, most of them have to file returns, and you can find out where the money is going.
Right.
Even with the whole ALS thing, we talked about where the money was.
The 990s cut it off.
Yeah, talk to him, be awesome. So you can check.
Well, if y'all don't know what Jimmy was referring to about drug testing, Adrian Peterson took a drug test yesterday. But prior to taking the test, he warned the tester that, quote unquote, I smoked a little weed recently. Come on, AP. Yo, you're about to be on trial for child abuse. You're sitting out getting paid for doing nothing right now. You're in indefinite suspension. They done dug up some stuff. Well, he probably smoked the weed before they dug up the whole orgy story. But AP is like falling apart right before our eyes, man. Right before our eyes.
Can I step in? Can I step in for a moment and defend my dumb young boy, my young country bumpkin boy? Look, man, several things that you got to understand here about AP. Man, AP, outside of, what you see on TV, I can tell that AP was one of these dudes. He spent his childhood lifting like bales of wheat and cotton up. Like, he didn't plan to be this famous and get this much love. So he don't really know what to do with it. Like, he wasn't cool in high school. He just was an athlete. He's a dumb jock. Now, you can't sit here and tell me, listeners, that y'all done smoke a little marijuana in your under 30s. Because Lord knows I did. I'm telling on myself.
Yeah, but you and our listeners probably didn't have the same thing to lose as Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And you and the listeners probably didn't do it while you were basically on parole. Now they're trying to revoke his bail and have him rearrested for this. So, it's mistakes compounding mistakes. So,
I wouldn't say I didn't smoke it on parole, though. But, I mean, my whole thing is I have a problem with the demonization of the drug to begin with, because marijuana is far less dangerous than nicotine.
We know that. We know that. I mean, alcohol, that's why people are fighting and taking steps to have it legalized. That's a whole nother conversation. Well, look, you defended him, but let me read, of course, what does everybody do when they want to defend themselves? They take to Twitter. So he took to Twitter and did an 11-point, took a few tweets because he had 11 points to make about what he's being accused of, and I'm going to read them for you real quick. He started it by saying journalism 101. So he's basically saying these people aren't doing their jobs and their due diligence. Point number 1, my uncle and I never owned a foundation credit card. 2, ESPN contacted the correct foundation to clarify issues. 3, ESPN found Straight from the Heart, based in California, confirmed receiving donations. Not SFTH, based in Maryland. A fired CPA incorrectly listed Maryland, but ESPN followed up by contacting the correct foundation. And some of these points are from, issues that we didn't even speak on. They were talking about how he was misappropriating other funds and reporting giving to certain charities that he really didn't give to, so he's defending that too. 4, California Straight from the Heart confirmed receiving donations. 5, East Texas Food Bank confirmed donation received. North Texas was incorrectly listed on a 990 by a firm later fired by foundation. ESPN reporter confirmed. 6, make headlines by calling something an orgy, even though it was not, and incorrectly saying a foundation card was used, even though my uncle and I never owned one. All Day Incorporated is totally different entity from the AP All Day Foundation. So basically he's saying he used his other credit card and not that one. 7, do not retract the false allegation because everyone believes the false allegation because it was printed first. 8, do not repost the ESPN story from August when I admit I was promiscuous, made mistakes, and had to change my ways. He's a man whore. 9, instead repost the story about father children out of wedlock, creates more buzz than retweets. 10, I guess never let the truth get in the way of a great story. And 11, take time to be great and to get it right. So AP went it there next in defense of himself.
Listen, man. Let me say one quick thing.
Right now, the problem that the three of us, and I'm gonna speak to y'all on this. The problem that the three of us have with AP is that he's stupid. That's it. Because there is no self-respecting,
don't be stupid,
honest, and honorable man that is going to look at another man and have a problem with him having a threesome, a foursome, or orgy with multiple women. It just doesn't exist. Like those type of men. So my problem is that he's stupid, and he should, as you said earlier with the weed, he should know what he has to lose, and he should have more discretion. But I'm not
my problem, because I know Jimmy has a point. Jimmy has a point, but, my problem is that you can fund an orgy with your credit card, but you can't walk into a CVS with a credit card and get some condoms. That's a problem that I'm having. Jim, what you want to say, man?
All right. The point is this, man. Everything that Adrian Peterson said is true. But here's the thing. It's not a surprise. This is the world that we live in. We live in a gotcha society. First of all, we live in a climate of white supremacy, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. But the thing is, you can't keep going around giving people rope to hang you. Like, you know what I mean? Like Mr. Butler told y'all, man, the hunt is on and you're the prey. Like, you, as many things as you have to deal with, don't just give yourself. Don't keep giving rope for people to hang you with. You know what I mean? You got to be smarter. You got to play chess and not checkers. So everything you're saying is accurate, AP, but you just got to be smarter. Like, I'm not going to judge him. I mean, it is what it is. Like B. Austin said, he's a young dude, with access to certain things. He may not know how to handle it, but, you just got to be smarter. Somebody, where's your old head? I blame your old head. Simple as that.
Yeah. Where's your old head? Yes, sir.
Hashtag, where's your old head?
The War Room Sports Surrogate Dad and Brother program is open to you, AP. I know you're 29, you're a little old for an application, but come on through. We'll show you how to get your orgy on properly.
I don't know how many of y'all listening out there follow my brother B. Austin on social media, but he is known as the hashtag king. He will hashtag anything. So that's a new one for you, B. Austin. So blame your old head. Like, where's your old head? Hashtag where's your old head?
Where's your old head? Like, where's your bread? Where's your old head?
Well, I'll tell you where Phil Ivey's bread is, and I don't know if y'all know who Phil Ivey is. He's a 10-time World Series of Poker winner. He just lost a case against a British casino that he accused of improperly withholding his winnings. The reason that they withheld his winnings that equal to $12.4 million American dollars is because they said he was cheating using quote-unquote edge sorting tactics. So they think that his wins weren't legitimate and they didn't have to pay. They said he essentially kept track of the card values by watching for design imperfections on the back of the cards. He said he's disappointed with the ruling because it's not in his nature to cheat. But then on the next breath, he said, I believe what we did. What we did was legitimate strategy. When you get in trouble, it's your whole crew. It's not just you. We did nothing more than exploit Crockford's failures to take proper steps to protect themselves against a player of my ability. So basically he's saying what we did was take advantage of the fact that I could see through their cards, so I'm going to look through their cards. Like, what's the problem here?
Is he? Do you know what game he was playing there? Does it mention that?
He was playing Baccarat.
Baccarat, I think.
Yeah. And wait, he has another one also. He has a legal battle going on. This is closer to home, the Borgata in Atlantic City. They're suing him for $9.6 million for the same thing. I pretty much think the Borgata already paid him out, though. But now that this ruling came about, I think they're going to try to get that bread back. So what do y'all think about cheating in poker? You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Here's the thing. Like, I actually watch poker from time to time, and if you can be a fan of someone who plays a card game, I am a fan of Phil Ivey because, dude is like a prodigy. Dude is something else. He's a prodigy. Like, he's scary in terms of his ability to read people. And, I've actually seen him in a casino in Atlantic City. I've actually seen him in a poker room in Atlantic City before. But the thing is this, though.
The
house always wins. The house always wins, yo.
He's winning.
You have people who find any edge they can and try to use it when gambling. And that's what the house pretty much does with any game there is. They try to find an edge. So they want to be able to do all these kind of, things, but they don't want anyone else to do it because the house always wins. But usually what happens is like they'll let someone get away with it, and then they'll like make a rule after the fact. They're not even doing that. They're like, yo, where's your bread? Like they're not even letting him get away with it.
Jimmy, you are 112% correct because
thank you, sir.
Honestly, knowing the gaming industry the way that I do, I'm not saying that I'm Kenny with it, but you got to know when to hold, know when to fold, and all that. Dude absolutely is innocent of what he's being accused of. He's just so sharp, and he does use a method where the house is losing, and they're exercising their gorilla pimp hand as the house to pursue this man through legal channels because he's that good. That's the way every major winner, if they don't cut a deal with the house, then the house is going to come after him because he's that good. Just like with blackjack.
They may have proved something. The British courts, agree with him unless they got a cut. But
they got a cut.
All right, so we kind of running behind. We ain't gonna spend that much time on pokers. We still got birthdays. Last thing, Michael Phelps, he's gonna enter a drug program. Not a surprise. I think rehab for celebrities, I think that's just their way to try to show remorse to the fans and, whatever they have at stake. Y'all know me. I don't believe much is genuine, so I think you do what you have to do to show remorse and to get your cush life back and get everything in order. But that's just me. Y'all got any thoughts on that?
Well, Dev, it was the cush that got him there, though.
Yeah, you want that cush life back. So let me go to rehab.
let
everybody forget about it.
I ain't got nothing to say, man. Let's just see how fast he's forgiven. Let's see if they dig up everything in his past like the way Beckett doing the AP. But, Kermit. So I'm going to say that is Kermit. With that being said, man, we got some calls in line. Hold on for 1 second, good brothers. Let me get these birthday shout-outs, and we're going to get to the callers because people want to chop it up with us. But I got to talk about some people's birthdays and give them their shout-out, give them their just due. The birthdays are brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence, top-quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable pricing. Financing options are available. Go to digitalextremetech.com, call 267-205-4203. Listen, you can also find them on warroomsports.com, and when you hit them up, make sure to let them know that we sent you there because you will get a discount because, you know what I'm saying, that's what we do. We give out discounts. Birthday shout-outs. First birthday is one Darius Miles, who turns 33, the basketball player and former actor. Yes, I said former actor.
Could have been nice.
Also, Juan Dixon turns 36. He's from down y'all area.
Yes, sir. Maryland hero for the championship they won in like 2002.
Overrated.
He wasn't lead. He wasn't really lead.
Our brother PJ, 1/5 for the War Room Tank Clan, his favorite collegiate basketball player of all time, Kenny Anderson, a.k.a. Kenny G's, turns 44.
Kenny G's. Best handle on the planet. Smack a sham.
Yo, what he did to Bobby Hurley is still nasty. I don't care what nobody said. But anyway, Annika Sorenstam turns 44.
Damn, she old.
I know. How about that? Yo, my homie, not as a player, even though he was a hell of a player, but as a coach, Mike Singletary, can't do it. Can't play with him. He turned 55. Mike Singletary turned 55.
He was one of the greatest football coaches ever, and he wasn't even a good football coach.
Yo,
why do we not have that soundbite though?
We gotta get that, yo. We will get that.
Can't
do
it.
They said won't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it.
He gave Jay Bryant spanking. He gave Jay Bryant spanking and made him apologize.
One more birthday shout out. Joe Pepitone, 74 years of age. We'd like to give a nice, big, warm salute to all these folks on their birthdays.
Hold on, gentlemen, real quick.
Oh, we got one more. We got the queen.
Mrs. Anderson.
I got to give my birthday shout out to my queen, my wife, Lisa Anderson, she's turning 30 today. Because, 40 is the new 30. Happy birthday to you, dear.
Happy
birthday,
he said that
because you
Mrs.
didn't do that,
Mrs.
bro.
Anderson.
Before we get to these calls, Dad, tell everybody how to get in touch with us so we can have some more people call in, and calls will be right with you in about 1 minute.
Yes, sir. Right after I tell you how to get in touch with me, we get you on the line. You can check out our website at warroomsports.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the War Report. That's our weekly newsletter. Click on the Contact Us tab to send a message about the company, our show, or if you want to talk business and inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities for general inquiries, email us, info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, click on the memorabilia tab to buy War Room Sports merchandise. Click the blog tab to read our latest sports articles in the All Fair and Sports and War blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to like our Facebook page, to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our iTunes podcast, to watch our videos at warroomsportstv.com, to listen to our network at WRSPN.com, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app to get everything I just mentioned on the go, and that's Android and iOS. Join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to do that, you can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and while you're at it, make sure you click follow. That'll get you updates and reminders about the show every week. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. But if you want to call in and speak to us directly, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. And if you already listen from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. And I think we got some people who have already pressed 1. So we're going to go to the Digital Extreme Tech hotline and get to the...
Hey, hold on real quick, Daz.
Oh,
Oh, you can bring them on. I just want to say one thing. We got some breaking news. It's a little breaking news. Michael Beasley was waived by the Grizzlies, and he signed a deal to play in China.
You know what? I saw something on that earlier, and the way I read it, it said he left Grizzlies camp to sign in China for more money because he wasn't sure he was going to make the team. So now they're saying he got
the Grizzlies waived him.
So
yeah.
Somebody
let's bring on Mustafa on.
They on that, like, I dumped you first type stuff. All right, Mustafa, what's up, brother? You in the war room.
Peace to the universe, all the kings and queens.
What's going on?
What's up, good brother?
How you feel?
Okay.
Well, y'all been talking about a lot of stuff, but I'm going to start with Michael Phelps. You know what I mean? It's not about remorse. They don't want to go to jail and get their booty touched, so they go to the
I feel that
they go
too.
to rehab. Because, the more money you have, you got people trying to get at you, and you have to go to rehab and avoid going to jail.
No
and
doubt.
About H.S. Peterson, I mean, all the money in the world don't make you smart. You know what I mean? You surround yourself about smart. You surround yourself about smart people who make decisions for you, and the smart thing you can do is listen versus speak.
Shout out.
So he's not doing it. So no one's talking to him, or he's not paying nobody the right money to talk to him. So that's his problem right there.
Mustafa, you know what it is, though? Some of these guys, it's self-esteem. So instead of surrounding themselves with people that are telling them right from wrong, they want yes men. You know what I mean? So they want someone pretty much to co-sign the behavior as opposed to having someone that keep you in check. A lot of this goes to people that grew up without their father. Now, AP's father's in his life, although he was, doing a bid for a lot of that. But you need someone to keep you in check, man. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but I'm pretty sure all of us have someone that can, tell us right from wrong, like, yo, you messing up. You know what I mean?
You know what they always say, man. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you need a new room.
In the wrong room.
Yeah, in the wrong room. So that might be
so true. And that's so true. So the question is, stop getting them yes men and get them real men. Because a real man is not a yes man. He's going to speak his mind whether you like the answer to give you or not. Don't ask that question then.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
So now we need to, so when they go into them classes, we need to have some, I don't know how we do it. You need to have somebody in that class that's like, you know what, leave your past in the past and let's move to the future.
Right. Yeah, man. And, a lot of it these days now, it starts with you got to catch them when they're young because some of these dudes are already conditioned. They believe things they shouldn't believe. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to teach the babies more or less.
Yeah. But
this happens. This is a bigger epidemic. This happens even outside of the arena of sports, just in general, man. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, but look, like I said, go back to these rappers. Everybody want to be part of gangs and stuff like that instead of putting that stuff aside and thinking about the children that's growing up. Do you want your children a part of that life? Do you want your children to think that's cool, especially daughters? You know what I mean? Come on, man. I understand she got to make her money, do what she do best, but if you can avoid it, choose a different profession. And at the same time, like I said, a man is going to be a man. I mean, all the money in the world, from politicians to the lowest man. If he can get away with stuff, he's going to do it.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. But once you get caught up in something, man, you got to be smart and know that the eye is on you. So, you know what I mean? You got to chill. Mustafa, man, thanks for the call. Thanks for the support. You always, bringing the realness to us, man. We definitely appreciate it, good brother.
Yeah,
peace and love,
brother.
All right, peace and love, good brother. Take it easy. All right, we got to get to the homie calling Tobias. Roll Damn Tide. We already know what that is. Tobias, what's good?
Hey, before I say Roll Tide, I wish y'all had the Price is Right loser horn right now. Bump, 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 bump. Good Lord. But before I get on that real quick, hello? My bad, sorry. Before y'all get on that, you don't need to
Hey, Tobias.
There you go.
We got you, dog.
You know I'm a good sport about it though. But thing is, before I get on my Alabama rant, before everybody, all these people trying to lump in and other black people in the media, cooning to try to jump on AP because use money to pay for an orgy. Stephen A., Jamel Hill, Chris Carter, my bad. Ask them why y'all want your pink ties and your pink ribbons. Do you know probably roughly, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know it's around 20-30% of that money donated to Susan B. Komen breast cancer research is only used for research. The rest of it's in their pockets. So before y'all jump on AP, peak game on that one.
AP using it to fill breasts, not to save breasts.
Yeah. And you know what? Everybody talking about AP, though, and the thing is, my beef is he and many of these black athletes don't understand the concept of legacy. They don't understand money. Well, how can you have a legacy if you got 6, 7 baby mamas? What you gonna pass down? Because once you retire, at AP, last time I checked, I haven't seen kids line up for the new APs, So how is he gonna make money when he retires? So but the child support is still gonna be there. Those women ain't gonna come down off of it as TO. So that's really cautionary to these guys. But I gotta get on Alabama real quick. I don't understand, but I'll say this: man, we're soft as baby poop. When that guy for Ole Miss, and that team has the most hood names I've ever heard in my life. How you name your baby Sinquez? But anyway, but here's the thing: you got a 6'5", 240-pound tight end getting beat for the ball in the air by a 5'8" cornerback. That ain't supposed to happen. But the issue is, I hear everybody talk about the dynasty is over. Hey, you can't win a national title every year. But the issue I have is, it seems like when Alabama plays, they make it too difficult on defense. Like, they keep talking the whole time, and then when they get done talking, the play hits, and they're like, where's my man? And I believe that, now, everybody's trying to kick dirt on them, but I still think they're a good program. I don't think they'll win every year. And my last thing on that is, Nick, can you still find a kicker, please?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, man. You said a whole lot right there. You definitely can't win. I mean, you guys have been competitive for so long. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. And I want to see how this whole thing plays out, considering they have the playoffs this year. You know what I mean? But people are rooting against y'all. You got to understand that. When you have the kind of success you have, everybody wants you to fail, man.
You know one thing though, I want to see how Ole Miss does this week coming up, because those folks are partying. I think they still partying, and they got going to roll to Texas A&M, and let's see how them and Mississippi State. I think Auburn's going to maul Mississippi State. I might put some cheddar on that one, but.
Well, we talking to Fred Perdue, so he's going to talk. That's one of his games of the week, so you can hear what he got to say about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but, it's those teams now. They're getting a hike now. And the issue is, now, I believe Alabama being compared to past Alabama teams. And it's like they're not as good. And that what happened to USC a couple years ago, Texas a couple years ago, the Florida State teams and Miami teams for the 80s and 90s. And that's an unrealistic expectation. And I know you got other things to do, and I'll say this real quick. I believe Florida State's gotten a free pass of playing the ACC schedule. Everyone kills the Big Ten for the schedule week, but who in the ACC can keep on Florida State athletically? Nobody. But no one criticizes Florida State. But the Big Ten gets hammered. I'm like, really? You really gonna say they're so dominant? But when they ran against the SEC boys in Auburn, I can't believe I'm saying this, they made Jameis look pretty ordinary. That's all I got to say.
All right, well, thanks, man. Thanks for your call as usual, man. Thanks for the support.
Check back with us next week, homie.
And roll
Go
damn
Wolves.
Tide.
All right, homie.
All right, so let's get into some hot topics real quick. And the hot topics, I got it this week, bro. The hot topics are brought to you by Audible. Is your schedule too hectic to read as much as you want? Well, try audiobooks and kick back and let someone else do the reading for you. All you got to do is visit Audible and sign up for your free trial at audibletrial.com/warroomsports. In no time, you could be listening to the latest bestsellers, hands-free, stress-free, while getting other things done at the same time. Other things that you paid for with your credit card.
You already know.
The NHL, just a shout-out to the NHL. The season is underway. It's opening night for a lot of people today, but, there were some opening night games last night. Of course, our Philadelphia Flyers took a L already. So shout-out to hockey. Maybe we'll have Greg Wyshynski of Yahoo Puck Daddy blog on the show sporadically during the season to give you guys the actual factuals about the hockey season. Baseball, man. Jim? How did you do with your with your NLDS and ALDS?
Yo, I picked everything wrong. But if you guys listen back when I made my picks, my picks were not based on baseball. It was based on the fact that it was the Kansas City Royals and they're the Kansas City Royals. It was based on the fact that Magic Johnson owned the Dodgers.
His favorite basketball player of all time.
Yeah, so I picked
shout out to
his team,
Casey Mack, man. In the chat room, shout out to your KC Royals, man. They pulled it off, and not only did they pull it off, they pulled it off in dominating fashion with a sweep. We'll see what's gonna happen moving forward. But Jim, what about the Nationals, man? Choke job. Like seriously, I really wanted to say that they were probably gonna choke last week, but I'm influenced down here by the DC fans, man. I ain't want to look like a hater. But I had a feeling. I mean, it did happen 2 seasons ago, and what people don't realize, like, the regular season is all fine and good. I mean, you have to do what you have to do in the regular season to get to that point. But, especially in the National League, when you're dealing with the San Francisco Giants of the past, 5 to 7 years, and you're dealing with the St. Louis Cardinals, period, anytime, there is always a chance that your record and your higher seed is going to end up meaning absolutely nothing. Now, the Washington Nationals didn't get dominated by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, their game, the one that they did win, that was the largest margin of victory in the whole series. But there were just certain times, certain decisions being made that kind of tilted the series. By the way of the Giants, they had the 18-inning, 6.5-hour game that I watched every minute of. I wanted to go to bed so bad. As a matter of fact, Jim, I wanted to watch other things. Like I was supposed to have a little movie night, and I thought the game was about to be over, and the game turned into like a whole other game. But were you surprised, knowing, what the Giants and the Cardinals do? Were you surprised that those guys, actually won series that they weren't favored to win?
Not really. I mean, because the Cardinals have been in like the NLCS 5 years in a row now.
Yeah, they get it in.
You know what I mean? It's like 5 years in a row. It's like somebody told me before it started, I guarantee the Cardinals are going to be. I said, that's not really a reach, though. Like, you're not really saying anything. They've been there 5 years in a row. So that it really wasn't that surprising. You know what I mean? Like, it was some good games, and you know, it was also a lot of ass-kicking going on in this first round. But seeing the Cardinals, no, that wasn't surprising. The Giants, not really either, because they've been one of the most competitive teams over this last decade or so. So it's
they
not
actually
really surprising.
They actually do to win the World Series. They won it in
That's what I'm saying.
They won it in 10, 12, and now it's 14. So they're supposed to win this year.
So you gotta figure, these are two of the most successful teams over this last decade. So I can't really be surprised. You know what I mean? Put it like this: the Patriots, if you want to use the analogy of football, they haven't won in forever, but they've always been competitive. So if they sneak through and win, it's not really going to be surprising. You know what I mean?
Now think about this: going in. We all know Washington arguably has the best staff in baseball. Arguably. You know, you can name some others, probably with bigger names, but not with better performances this year in particular. Now, if I were to tell you, though, that Washington was going to win the game when Bumgarner started for the Giants, would you believe that the Giants still won this series? That's what I'm saying. When you tell me that Kershaw is going to lose his starts, then I know the Dodgers aren't going to win. And he lost his starts. But the only game the Nationals ended up pulling out was the one against their best pitcher, who may be right now the second best pitcher in the league, to Clayton Kershaw.
His name is Bumgarner. That's what it was. He lived up to his name for once. On the other
no, I mean he really didn't though. He really didn't. That was the 18. I mean, that wasn't the 18-inning game. He pitched pretty well. I think that's the game that came down to kind of a was it a wild pitch that they scored off of, and then Bryce Harper, who was the only Nationals batter who didn't want to go home, was smacking home runs in every game. But Bumgarner pitched pretty well until the error was made. Yeah, I mean, I know you always say he hasn't played as well as B. Austin makes it out. Every time we say his name, you be on some like he Barry Bonds or somebody. But he did step up in this playoff series. So I don't know.
That's when you make your name.
Yeah, that's what they always say, and they keep saying that about Cleveland. Yeah, because I guess what he did wasn't enough to bring them through. But it was interesting. So let's get the picks on the LCSs, and let's start in the American League with the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals. Who you got, Jim? And then how many games?
I'm picking Baltimore. Shout out to Casey Mack, and I know you're gonna give me hell, especially if you guys win. And I hope you guys do win. But
if we pick against them, maybe they will win, and he'll thank us.
Yeah, how about that? See, that's what I'm doing. I'm picking against you to give you guys good luck. Yo, the fact that they're the Royals, I can't pick them because they're the Royals. Yo, it's just that simple.
Yeah, and don't take that personally, because the team we root for, recent success aside, had the most losses in Major League Baseball history. So if somebody was to say back then in 2008, I can't pick the Phillies because they're the Phillies, I would totally understand that. I wouldn't be mad. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Orioles as well. I got the Orioles in 6. I would love to see KC win. I love an underdog story. I got the Orioles in 6, so we'll see what happens. B. Austin, you want to take a crack at this?
Put me out there on Front Street.
Jimmy, every time we talk about baseball, what does he do? He throw a disclaimer. I'm not a baseball fan. I'm asking if you want to take
what teams is playing, man? Damn.
Oh, man, never mind. Never mind.
I'm picking the Orioles. I'm picking the Orioles.
You know what teams is playing. Barry Bonds and them, man. All right, let's go over to the National League, and this seems like the same damn series all the time. The Giants and the Cardinals. This is difficult to pick because it's those two teams. Jimmy, who you got?
Damn, man. Yeah, this is the most difficult series to pick thus far for me, because I can honestly see either team winning, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals, man. I'm going to roll with St. Louis, man. Word to Nelly. But it's difficult, man. I'm taking the Cardinals.
I got to stop letting Jim go first. I was thinking that as well. It seems like the Giants are due for their every 2 years thing. The Cardinals, though, even when you put both of these teams up, the Cardinals is the team that I would least, want to bet against if I had to put a bet down. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well. We'll see what happens. Be Austin, who you got, Cardinals or Giants? It's a toss-up, man.
I got the Giants.
There you go.
Oh, man, Bumgarner.
We need some voice of opposition here. So we got 2 for the Cardinals, 1 for the Giants, and 3 for the Orioles. But we will see how everything shakes out in the MLB. NBA news, fellas. Bosh is kind of giving LeBron the quote-unquote KG treatment. Or is he? You know what I'm saying? It might just be a little bit of media hype. But Bosh, they've been talking about that whole thing with him and LeBron because they're about to play the Cavaliers in a preseason game. I think it's outside of the country somewhere. I forgot where the game is taking place. So, they were asking Bosh, had he talked to LeBron since he left, and he answered no. He basically said, I'm in the mode where I'm trying to lead my team. Notice how you say my team. It's not Wade County no more. It's Bosh County. I'm trying to lead my team, help these guys out around here. If guys aren't in this locker room, I don't have much time for them, if any. So, of course, they tried to make this into a big story. Do you guys think it's a story or,
I think
is it him taking shots?
It's a story. I think that this is funny, man, because in this climate, the way the world is, we try and make something more than it is. I think that it will get made into a story, and I think that they know that. So it kind of gives them some level of deniability because they can come back and say, well, that's all I said. That's what I meant. But they know that people are going to run with it. So I think it's a little bit of a shot, but not a major shot. And how is he supposed to feel? I think this is more of how they're supposed to feel. And that's my problem with guys like D-Wade and Bosh, because I know where they come from, and they had good old heads, and they just left that and subscribed to this new Drakean way of thinking. They know they're not supposed to be all buddy and bunned up and booty bandits like that, man. Come on. So Bosh has sacrificed a lot through the years playing in Miami, and I wish that brother is able to show them that he is the best woman in the National Basketball Association by averaging like 26 and 12 this year. Reclaim your spot amongst the pivot players.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that. Go ahead, Jim.
He's saying what he's supposed to say. I do think it was a little bit blown out of proportion. I mean, because he read exactly what he says. He's not really dissing him. But he's saying what he's supposed to say anyway. But I'm not going to front like I didn't get excited when he said it, because you do have too much of these players giving each other blumpkins and talking about how great each person is. So it's like, I want to focus on my team. I remember Brady did it a couple years ago talking about the Jets. Like, who cares about the Jets? And Shady did it with reference to the Giants. I love when players do that. You know what I mean? Like, worry about your team,
Yeah, no doubt. And with the whole Bosh thing, because they've also been asking him, because B. Austin said something about him sacrificing. They talked about that because they asked him about the whole Kevin Love situation, and who better to talk about that than Bosh, because like B. Austin said, out of all three of those guys, he had to sacrifice his game the most, and I pretty much see the same thing happening for Kevin Love. And Bosh, he spoke on it. He was asked about it. He spoke on it, saying, he's definitely going to have to change up, what he does. His numbers are going to suffer, and it's kind of difficult to go through. But he said, at the same time, they did some great things in Miami with him doing it. So it sounds like now, if, he's taking a lot of these interviews and he's answering a lot of questions that's going to put him out there a little bit, sounds like Bosh is in, like, Hulk smash mode. So we're going to see how well he plays. Now that he has more confidence in his voice because he's the leader of a team again, let's see if if he has room to make all of these comments, or are you gonna go out there and play like trash after you acting like you the man again? So I'm curious to see how this whole thing is going to shake out. And I, for one, I'm not one of those people that think that the Heat are going to totally just fall off of the map. And we'll do our NBA picks and predictions in a couple of weeks. But, I don't think Miami is going to be, as bad as a lot of people think. They got some talent down there. And I think everything, of course, is going to hinge on the health of Dwayne Wade. So, hopefully if he went over to Germany to get that platelet stuff, I'm just making this up. I don't know if he did. But if he did, they could be in prime position to make some noise. I don't know how much. But like you guys said, I think Bosh is saying what he's supposed to say. Like, dude's not in this locker room anymore, so talk to him for what? I don't think he handled it like KG, because I really think if KG saw Ray Allen on the street, there might be a problem. So I don't think it's that
KG
deep
was
with Bosh.
KG was genuine. KG's was genuine. KG got a problem with Ray Allen.
He really doesn't like the dude
right now.
And if he signs, if he signs with the
problem.
Cavs, KG is going to get even worse. I don't know if KG can fight, because by all accounts he probably can't. But I think if you see Ray Allen on the street, it might be a problem. He's really upset with that dude.
That would be funny as heck, because you look at KG as one way. If Ray Allen's soft butt beat KG up, that would be funny.
Take an ass whooping from Jesus. Come on, man. Jesus out here whooping ass. All right, so other than that, the Wizards, Bulls, they had a little confrontation during their playoff series, and now they had a little preseason confrontation where Noah and Paul Pierce got into it. Paul Pierce poked Noah on his forehead with his finger. 4 Wizards were suspended for leaving the bench area for a game. DeJuan Blair, Nene, Daniel Orton, and Xavier Silas. The last 2 still have to make the team. So their suspension, that could take a while. If they get cut, they got to make a team before they get to. Yeah. But they've been suspended for a game. Noah was fined 15 G's for starting the altercation, and Paul Pierce was fined 15 G's for poking Noah in his forehead. So, not, anything we want to spend too much time on, but it's like, when did the Wizards become tough guys? Because I've started to see this late in the season, and now with this, it's like the Wizards are the tough guys of the NBA now. They're tired of getting tough.
There's something they believe, like, there's no Xavier McDaniel types left, and if you don't know who the X-Man was, you better ask somebody. There's no Anthony Mason. There's no Charles Oakley. So we have to contrive. We have to make stuff up. Like, Paul Pierce, I never looked at him as a Mitch. Like, he's not the type of dude that's going to get pumped. But he also isn't a tough guy or an enforcer, and that's kind of how they're even marketing him within the Wizards brand. Like, now, because Paul Pierce came to town, the Wizards are tough. And I'm like, but wait, did Paul Pierce pretended like he was going to die because of a hangnail and had to roll out like, when is he a tough dude?
I mean, remember in the playoffs, it was Nene. Like, you tough and your name is Nene. Like, I think the Wizards got together.
Kind of a pseudo tough guy, but we don't believe you. You need more people, so I don't need to pay attention to him.
I think they got together. Like, I think they were like,
you know what? You're not gonna be pucking me when we get 40. I'm letting you know that right now.
And Paul Pierce is damn near 40, so that's what he was telling Noah during that whole
conversation. And now he's encouraging. He's encouraging Bradley Beal and John Wall, and John Wall is a follower, kind of. So he's like, yeah, Paul said it's cool to be tough, so we tough now. We gonna tell the Cavs about themselves.
All I want to say is, like, when you look at the landscape of the entire NBA, it doesn't take much to be tough in comparison to everybody else. So I think Paul Pierce is the reason. The Celtics used to try to act tough when they really weren't tough, but when you look at the rest of the league, maybe they are tough in comparison. Everybody else is soft, Duke. So we're going to use this to our advantage to try to compete. And, when you look at the team they got, they possibly could. What I mean?
There's only like 5 real tough guys in the NBA if you can actually count them as tough, and that's Tough Juice, who has the weakest nickname in the history of the world. the light-skinned boy that was on Basketball Wives. I mean, if you see his story, he got a tremendous story. And I really can't. I guess Udonis Haslem and David West. Like, that's the only four that I can think of. And I'm sorry, and I disrespected Dark-skinned Jermaine. I apologize. I should have named him first.
It's not a tough guys league anymore. But look, man, we talked to Fred Perdue earlier, college football contributor for War Room Sports. We talked to him earlier today about last week in college football and his games of the week for this week. Right before we play that segment for you, we just want to give you our stat of the week, and that's Washington State quarterback Connor Holiday, who passed for 49 for 70, 700, this is a record, 734 yards. That's a record for college football. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions against Cal, but Washington State still lost the game. Your quarterback threw for 734 yards, and you lost the game. So that is our War Room stat of the week, and we're going to let you guys hear our segment with Fred Perdue, our War Room Sports college football contributor. And mind you, when we recorded this segment earlier in the day, it was before the news broke about Todd Gurley, the running back of the Georgia Bulldogs. So this was prior to that news. This is our talk with Fred Perdue. All right, on the line with us, as he is every week, is War Room Sports college football contributor Fred Perdue. Fred, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, family?
Nothing much, man. I know you were in hog heaven last weekend because we had one of the wilder college football weekends that I know I can remember for a long time. I mean, that's your thing. You do that. Can you think of a weekend that was more wild than what we just saw?
Well, I can. It's very hard to think back and find one that's been like that because losing the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 teams losing 6 and 8. It's hard to think back. I've seen years where we've had it where number 3 and number 5 and a couple of the top 10 have lost, but not in this successive order. And I love it. I love the losing by the top 10 teams. I love chaos.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just gonna make it more interesting. At the end of the season when they're gonna have to pick those final 4. But look, man, let's talk about your games of the week coming up because basically we want to see how that wild week is going to be followed up. So let's start out with number 13 Georgia going to visit number 23 Missouri. What you got in that one?
Well, Georgia again has the best backfield in the nation, and Alabama was right behind them. But when you have 4 dynamic backs that do 4 different things, especially led by Todd Gurley, who I've always said he's a bit of a girly man, but
literally.
Yes, but the guy's he's a complete beast, and he's probably the only guy I can honestly say that is a first-round type of player since it's been a while. The last time I said a running back was first-round talent was Doug Martin. No, I was never on the Trent Richardson bandwagon, but Doug Martin was the last first-round caliber running back, and Todd Gurley, if he can stay healthy, he's that guy. On the other side of the ball, you have Missouri, who right now they're ahead in the East in the SEC, and this game will probably go down and determine the SEC East after Florida has lost a couple. Tennessee's pretty much out of it. South Carolina has, for all intents and purposes, they pooped on themselves. Spurs thrown down his hat, and South Carolina is just, after you lose 2 All-Americans on the defensive line and 3 All-Americans in the secondary, you don't recover from that. And it's showing. And also you lose a stud quarterback, at least a college player, a stud college quarterback in Connor Shaw. You don't recover from that. So the winner of this game will win the SEC East, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Georgia. I like the Bulldogs. That running game is going to slow this game down, take away from the clock, and I don't believe in Matty Mock. I really don't. And Mark Richt is going to win the SEC East yet again.
All right, so let's go to number 12, Oregon, who was one of the teams that, had a pretty bad weekend last weekend. They're going up against number 18, UCLA. What do you see in this one?
I was never a believer in UCLA from the beginning, and I got a lot of flack for it. Well, for all those people that said, you're crazy, well, about that. I actually thought Stanford would win it all in the Pac-12. Well, about that, too. I was a bit wrong. Stanford looks god-awful right now. But Oregon doesn't look any better. You have a really great quarterback with no offensive line and a bunch of skill guys that aren't really – with a bunch of skill guys that haven't separated themselves. I don't believe in UCLA's defense. I think Marcus Mariota will pull one out of his hat. Give me Oregon 27-10.
All right, let's move back to the SEC. Number 2, Auburn against number 3, Mississippi State, one of the teams that had a good weekend last week.
Like I said last week, Dak Prescott was the guy to watch, and he really impressed. He pulled out his inner Tim Tebow, actually just running the ball down teams' throats, running guys over at quarterback. You just don't see that anymore. I really like what I've seen from Auburn. Nick Marshall looks like a complete quarterback for now. He can actually throw the ball. He's not just a running threat. And when you see a college quarterback, and that is all he is. Let's not go crazy and say he's an NFL caliber guy. But he's that college quarterback that's a dual threat, and he's going to be able to do some things. So I really like what I've seen from him. I really like Auburn and their offense. If Gus Malzahn, if he can get the tempo up a little bit more, they throw the ball to Sammy Coates, who is the guy I think will be the guy to watch. I can't say Dak Prescott anymore because, well, you've already watched him. So give me Sammy Coates as the player to watch. Auburn wins this game. It's going to be tight. I can't even call a score, but it's going to be tight. Give me Auburn in the win.
All right, well, let's go on to some rapid picks. Got a few games for you. Just let me know who's going to win. If you have a score, you can do that as well. Let's go Texas versus number 11, Oklahoma.
Well, Texas was supposed to lose this game last year, and they blew Oklahoma out. Well, this time Texas is going to get blown out. But Oklahoma doesn't look great either. I like what I've seen from Sterling Shepard, their star wideout. Like what I've seen from the defensive line, but Texas just doesn't have the horses right now. And Charlie Strong is, for all of the players he's kicked off the team, and he's getting it turned around. But when you have Tyrone Swoops and just not really, he still looks like a freshman, even though he redshirted last year and he came back. And David Ash is gone. Case McCoy, Colt McCoy's little brother's gone. So now you're just stuck. And Oklahoma's gonna roll. Give me Oklahoma.
Cool. All right. You know that wasn't a rapid pick though.
Yes, I know, but it's the Red River rivalry, man. You gotta give them a little something.
Let's go number 9 TCU versus number 5 Baylor. The Horned Frogs against the Bears.
The Bears. Give me Baylor big. I don't think Trevon Boykin's gonna do anything.
Cool, and then we got Cincinnati versus the University of Miami. Who you got?
Oh, this is so hard to pick, but give me Miami close. Okay. 27-24. I'm not confident in it, and I shall never be confident in it, but give me Miami 27-24.
All right, and last but not least.
By the way.
Oh, okay. LSU versus Florida. Man, past years this would be like one of the sexiest matchups out there, but not looking that way right now. Who you got?
Give me Florida simply based on the defense. If you're looking for quarterbacks, this is not the game. Give me Florida 10-3. This is going to be an ugly game.
All right, cool. Everybody during college football Saturday especially, Fred, he's going to be live tweeting. So if you got any questions for him, if you just want to talk to him during the games, You can tweet with him. He's going to give you his Twitter address right now, his Twitter handle. Let everybody know how to get in touch with you.
You guys can reach me at FPurdueSports on Twitter. Always active. Always active.
All right. And you can also catch him on War Room Sports TV, talking NFL football with the guys from War Room Sports and the guys from Sports Kings. That's on Field Vision. You can check that show out every Thursday. No particular time. Just go to warroomsportstv.com every Thursday and see if it's up there yet. But Fred, as usual, man, thanks a lot. Hopefully this week can be half as great as last week was, and we will talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, no doubt. All right, that was Fred Purdue, our War Room Sports college football contributor. Like I said, you probably heard him in there talking about Todd Gurley, but that's not going to happen because he has been suspended indefinitely for there's an ongoing investigation for alleged NCAA violations. And, you know, with the NCAA rules, that could be pretty much anything. So Todd Gurley will not be running for the Bulldogs. For the Dogs this weekend. So.
Yeah, ball wasn't soaking. He was like seriously doing, you know what I mean, when he shouldn't have. But anyway, it's time to talk some football, gentlemen. Before we do football, I was gonna make a public service announcement. Yo, everybody on Facebook, yo, stop sending me that Candy Crush BS, yo. I don't play that, yo. Get out of here, yo. I gotta say that real quick, man. There's got like 40 of them Johns real quick. But anyway.
If you got a John named Candy, I'll crush her, but I ain't playing no Candy Crush. Huh?
Let's talk football. The NFL Wrap is brought to you by Stitcher Smart Radio.
Well, let me tell everybody something real quick, then. Yeah, I'm going to just tell everybody, y'all can check out our website, warroomsports.com. If you want to call in and speak to us about any of tonight's topics, preferably about NFL football, since that's what we're about to talk about, you can call the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1. If you want to talk, it's football time.
Yes, sir. Yo, before we even jump into football, let's talk about Stitcher Smart Radio. You can now hear our show, The War Room, on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your computer, your iPhone, your Android phone, your BlackBerry, or your Palm phone. If you happen to still have a BlackBerry or Palm phone, walk to the roof of your home and jump off. The latest episode is always available for you. No syncing needed, no memory or storage wasted. Downloading is easy. Go to warroomsports.com and click on that Stitcher logo. Remember, use the coupon code THEWARROOM, THEWARROOM. That enters you into a contest to win millions and millions of money. Let's talk football, gentlemen. Let's talk about B. Austin's favorite quarterback in the National Football League, one Geno Smith. He was benched versus the Chargers for unprepared Michael Vick. What do you guys think about what's going on with the quarterback situation with the New York Football Jets with Michael Vick and Geno Smith and like?
Two monkeys don't stop the show.
You crazy. Yo, personally, I think what I thought of their quarterback situation coming into the season, I think it stinks. Like, you got Geno Smith, who's not that good, and then you probably have the most overrated quarterback in the past decade backing him up. Smith had a terrible game, and when they finally decided to pull the plug, Mike Vick comes in, goes 8 for 19 for 47 yards himself, in a game where they were getting blown out. So, passing yards should have been at a premium just on some we're trying to come back type stuff, even when we know the comeback is going to fall short. Now, one thing I want to say about Michael Vick and this whole thing, because Geno Smith is not doing anything that I haven't expected Geno Smith to do. Rex Ryan has said he's going to stick with him. That was just for that particular game. We'll see how long his leash is. I pretty much think this is Rex Ryan's last year, so there really isn't anything he's going to do to save his job. So pulling Geno Smith is probably not pulling him for good is probably not his decision right now. This is the quarterback that they drafted fairly early in last year's draft. So since he's a lame duck coach, they're probably going to have to stick with him. But if they don't, and let me address Mike Vick real quick, because he's admitted today to reporters that he wasn't really prepared, because he's heard week after week when Geno was messing up that this is still Geno's team. So he's basically admitting that he was a little complacent in preparing himself on the scout team. But you know what? I don't buy that, because, Mike Vick has made a career, especially the last 5 or 6 years, he's made a career out of being really preoccupied with saying the right things. But in this particular instance, okay, you're admitting that, but, okay, kudos for saying the right thing, but how do you not prepare yourself? This is a sport, and he should know this better than anyone, that the backup is always one play away from getting in. As much as he gets hurt and his backups have to come in and spell him, he should always be prepared and know, not even just for an injury. Geno Smith is just not that good. I think you knew when you got there that at some point you were going to be called upon to take over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not buying the Mike Vick say the right thing. I'm admitting that I wasn't prepared. I think that's a terrible admission. Not because you said it, just because if you really weren't prepared, I think that's a terrible thing, because you're a 13, 14-year veteran in this league, and you're not prepared after, all the times that the next guy had to be prepared for him getting injured. So, I feel some type of way about that, as y'all can see.
I think that Michael Vick, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't even want to play football no more. He's just trying to get his war chest back up.
Get a check.
My man was probably telling Rex, like, no, man, leave him in, man. Let him take his bumps. Like, my man had no intentions of playing this season. He probably got upset, like, yo, you ruining my hustle right now, young boy. Like, Mike Vick,
Jimmy,
I'm about that chicken.
That means now we kind of know what he said to Geno on the sideline, because I don't know if you guys were watching. I was watching the game when it happened, and the cameras pointed to Vick actually saying something like Geno had on his cap. Vick was putting on his helmet, getting ready to go into the next series, and Geno was kind of sulking on the sideline, and Mike Vick was saying something to him. So now I'm imagining he's probably saying, look, man, I don't even want to play, man. So, don't worry about me, because I'm just trying to get that Skrilla. But, I don't bang with the admission, because, of course, he's saying he did all that just to say it'll never happen again. But how many it'll never happen agains have we heard from Mike Vick in his career? Come on,
yo,
dude.
You
out of it'll never happen again.
Here's my question. All right, you say that, like, people, you hate when people give you the PC talk, but if he's completely honest, like, how can you hate him if he's being completely honest? Like, yo, I wasn't ready.
No, because with him, I still think it's kind of PC talk, because I think he only said all of that just to give you the obligatory it'll never happen again. But he said it'll never happen again about every single mistake he's made in his career. And come on, you not being prepared, I'm pretty sure at some point he was setting us up.
So he just honest like Steve Nash, like, yo, I'm just here for the check. And you can't, like, that'd have been different.
Yeah. I mean, but he basically, his honesty, if it was even honesty, because you can say you weren't prepared just because you stunk. You might have been prepared, like Big Dog. You just stink right now.
B. Austin, before you go, let me just say one thing before you go, before you talk so eloquently, B. Austin. I just want to say, when you down and people kick you, when you up the women lick you, chill, dog, don't make me have to Michael Vick. And that's in the words of Action Bronson. Go ahead, B. Austin.
Yo, he was prepared, man. He just stunk.
Word to action. I don't know, man. I on one level, there's a certain part of me that roots for Michael Vick because of where he comes from, because of
Black Party,
what he's been through. Yeah, the black protectionist in me. He's from an area of the world where they produce, hellacious athletes who are not only tremendous athletes, but they're gritty, man. They take their lumps. But guys, and I hope that the millions of listeners are really hearing me clearly, because we've talked about Mike Vick a whole lot in the last 4 years. He's just not a good quarterback. Like, that's bottom line. It doesn't matter whether he's starting. It doesn't matter whether he's backing up, because in order to play quarterback in the NFL, you got to be smart at some level. your intelligence, your IQ has to be there. And not only does it appear that his IQ isn't there, but his desire and preparedness, it's not there, man. It's not there. So, this situation just confirms some of the things that we've shared over the years about Michael Vick and his ability, with the intangibles, not the physical, but the intangibles. It just confirms it to me. Like, you're not prepared to play. You're not prepared to play.
Wow. Smack him.
Yeah, man. So, that's what's going on with the Jets. I mean, no one expected anything from, like you said, the beginning of this, but it's still interesting to see. And, Michael Vick, we always got to talk about Michael Vick.
Eagles fans still want this dude.
Yeah, there are actually people still calling for him. So, Jim, you said this is what people...
Y'all think I'm lying. I've heard people who are Falcons fans that still want Bull. So, I mean,
so you
think
said
about
this is what we expected from the Jets? So this is what you're trying to say?
The Bears are who we thought they were.
Yeah, more or less, man.
It's
one of them things, like, Michael Vick is one of the most polarizing figures in, in recent memory because
I don't
people
understand
ride hard for this dude, yo. They really do. The New England Patriots, right, their demise was greatly exaggerated last week. We talked about this on Field Vision, by the way, which you can catch at warroomsportstv.com or go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/warroomsports. Shameless plug. But people talked about how the Patriots were done. Tom Brady should retire. It's over. I mean, then they had a bounce-back win against the last undefeated team in the league and looked very dominant in doing so. Yeah, they definitely beat feces down their leg. So now everybody's back on the bandwagon saying Tom Brady's the greatest ever. Bill Belichick, so they did a complete 180. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think about with the Patriots, and what do you think about how they handled the Bengals?
All it takes is 1 week.
Yeah. First of all, I let me get the Bengals out of the way before we talk our thoughts on the Patriots.
Be ashamed of themselves.
The Bengals, first of all, I think we all knew that the Bengals would have trouble playing with the pressure of being the hunted. They're not used to that role. And, even the last few years when they've been successful, we've seen what they did in the playoffs when it was really nut-cutting time. So that was one thing with the Patriots having a tough week and having to talk to the media and, having to defend themselves against this kind of talk. That's what was lost in this whole thing. Like, they're playing the Bengals, and though the Bengals were 3-0 at the time, they don't have a history of playing well under pressure. So they came out and got blitzkrieg from the moment that game started. But the Patriots and their demise, I think, it was premature, just like it's going to be premature for everybody to say the Patriots are back now and they're going to do this and do that. First of all, their division gives them a leg up, whether they were a bad team this year or not. It's still possible to win that division with a subpar record. The Bills, they're supposed to be the ones who might give them some resistance, and we'll see starting this weekend if that's going to be the case. They made the quarterback change to at least get somebody in there. We all know Orton's not a superstar, but he can get the ball down the field. So we're going to see how that plays out. I just want people to stop making knee-jerk reactions, because if you're going to say that the Patriots are declining, I'm not mad at that, because I think the way they've been trending over the past 2 seasons will give you, hard evidence that the Patriots are in decline. But after one game, just because they get waxed one game, look, that happens sometime in this league. Don't wait till that happens to adamantly state that the Patriots are done and Tom Brady is done. If you're a fantasy football owner, you probably thought Tom Brady was done 2-3 seasons ago, because
Tom Brady ain't been nothing in fantasy since Randy left.
Exactly. So, but of course, the Patriots as a whole just kept winning games. But I just think people need to, stop making these quick decisions, man.
It's like you said,
so you
man.
Have
we
a problem.
saw the slowing
so
down
right now,
of
you have a problem with the
ago.
culture of immediacy.
Good.
All I was saying is,
you have a problem with the culture of immediacy, that the lens that they're looking at the Patriots through, because that's what it is. Immediately this, immediately that, sensation this, change here, change that. Man.
But you know what? Like the whole culture of immediacy, a lot of that is due to the fact that we are flooded with so much information that it's everything happens immediately because we have to move on to the next thing because we can't not discuss this. So we gotta hurry up and get off this. You know what I mean? So that's all part of it.
I agree.
But Jim, you're basically saying with the way things are, we can't dwell on the steady decline of the Patriots. We just have to just say they're done all in one fell swoop.
Yeah,
they can't even just get bad.
Next week. We can throw somebody else in the bus next week. Yo, think about it, man. Sports, the greatest thing about sports is building people up and then tearing people down. That could be the same person or it could be different. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we saw this. Like when Aaron Hernandez was catching bodies about a week ago, we saw once that all happened because – and we talked about it before. He was going to be a hell of a player. Like he definitely was on his way to being a phenomenal player. And I think that kind of messed it up because they were getting ready to revolutionize the game again. They were going to become between him and Gronk and Brady, they were getting ready to change the game. At least I think they were. And that whole thing got derailed. Then Gronk got hurt. You know what I mean? So but at the end of the day, they continue to win. And in that
they were running reverses. They were running reverses with tight end.
We talk about how much of a freak Gronk was, and he got more press than
Hernandez
was the most versatile tight end in the league, in my opinion. He lined up at every single position on that offense.
He had no position.
I'm talking about guard, tackle, tight end, slot, wide out, running back. Full back. Did he take a snap? He might have took a snap in his career as well.
Yeah,
he did it all. And then left the game and caught bodies. So he's talented.
Yeah, caught a body about a week ago. They were getting ready to do some ignorant stuff. Sort of like J.J. Watt. Have you guys been watching the stuff that he's doing? My man is going out for pass routes. My man is playing defensive.
He goes on offense now.
There's a lot of people who say that he's the best player in the league, not best defensive player. People are saying he's the best player in the league.
I ain't mad at him. I
he's too nice.
Agree,
He's too nice with any verbal device. My man literally catches touchdown. He intercepts the ball. He gets sacked. What doesn't he do?
He does the nay on his way to the end zone.
He's out of pocket right now.
He's tough against the run. You don't play the run like a soft DN.
He dances at school dances to Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock.
My man caught a playing defensive end and ran it 80 yards.
My son for those listeners out there, my son is 3, just turned 3. My son knows 3 people in sports, and that's LeBron James, J.J. Watt, maybe 2. No, he knows LeBron James, J.J. Watt, and Shady McCoy. Those are the 3 people he knows in sports. When he sees them, he knows exactly who they are. But J.J. Watt is on TV so much right now, not just because of commercials, but because of all the highlights he's making. Because I sort of force my son to watch, sports every morning before he goes to school.
That's good parenting right there.
Yeah, so he sees him so much. So now he knows him without his name being said. He'll see the dude and just scream J.J. Watt. So I think that's his favorite football player right now.
But peep this though, right? He played defensive end. He caught an interception and ran 80 yards, right? Now, Reggie White, in my opinion, is probably the either 1 or 2 most dominant defensive player I've ever seen play. Probably number 2 behind Lawrence Taylor. But I can't imagine him catching a pick playing defensive end and running into the house. This dude,
80.
This dude is just on another level from a physical standpoint, no bosh.
Reggie.
But also the way he's able to play different positions and move, and he's playing on offense now. Come on, man.
Reg was Diesel, but his pants, his football pants look heavy, like he had on too many pads. The way he ran, he was fast to a quarterback, but JJ was fat. Nobody was catching him. He bolted like he was a receiver.
Fast, period.
Tight end. All right, so I don't know how the hell we started talking about JJ, but real quick, back to the Patriots. I'm going to go a little bit with the X's and O's because, we just, nobody's really talking about the reasons why they were bad. And the offensive line had a lot to do with that. And I think it also has a lot to do with the quote-unquote Patriot way. When you get a little older, they're not going to pay you. But I never thought that methodology, was in place when you talked about offensive linemen because, you can have all the talent you could possibly need on an offensive line, but you still need the continuity of that particular unit for it to be successful. And when you take like a Logan Mankins out of the equation and let him walk, like that definitely has an effect on what they're trying to do. And Tom Brady has been under siege so far this season. It seemed like he was more decisive in what he was doing against the Bengals, and they just put it on them from play number one. But people can't forget that this is not all a Tom Brady in decline type situation. This could have a lot to do with Belichick and his personnel rules that have worked well for him for a decade, but I don't think he's ever come to the point, a crossroad, where he had to make decisions like that on his offensive line, and I think that's a whole different beast than getting rid of talented receivers for average guys. Different beast.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that, as you said, to form that cohesive unit along the offensive line, it takes time. It takes talent, but it takes time, and you have to invest in it, right? So now I think the Patriot way, quote unquote, definitely works. I've been an admirer of it for years. I wonder if Robert Kraft and that front office succumb to what we were just talking about, the culture of immediacy, and put some heat under Belichick to bring in free agents to keep pace with the other teams, or if they allow Belichick the 2, 3, maybe even 4 seasons it's going to take to rebuild that system. Because while he does that, if you're going to take 2 or 3 years to do it, Brady's not going to be around in 3 or 4 seasons. So that's going to be a real curious thing with them. Their staple is their offensive line and their defensive line, and being able to plug players in at the skill positions, a certain set of skills that fit into the scheme. So they're real scheme focused. They're focused on scheme as opposed to individual talent, raw talent. So that'll be curious.
All right. Well, here's my input to what you guys are talking about. The Patriot way, it does work to a certain extent. I mean, it even works in all walks of life. I mean, when we were younger, you get a young lady. I mean, and her useful life is over. So the Patriot way is you get a younger John. You know what I'm saying? And you move on to her. But then what happens is you get to a point where you have something that really works. So you stop following the Patriot way and you stick with that because it works. You know what I'm saying? So that's my analogy for tonight. But I agree. The Logan Mankins thing, I couldn't believe that because he was in that system. He was that guy. And me and B. Austin have said in the past that the fat guys up front are what wins football games. And if you don't believe us, go see the Dallas Cowboys turn around, and that's what it's all about. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that was the biggest issue with the Patriots is the fat guys up front. They may get it together.
Didn't they lose their center as well, I believe? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think they might have lost
it was
more than one guy. He was just the biggest name.
Up front, and, you see the difference. Even outside of Brady being protected, like the running backs, they have nowhere to go. They're getting the ball, and it's like, they're moved. The offensive line is being moved backwards. They look a lot better against the Bengals, so maybe, over time, over the course of this season, they'll get it together. The great thing about the Patriots, though,
people were calling the Bengals the best defense in football prior to that game.
Here's the great thing about the Patriots. They play in a JV division, so they can struggle and take the season kind of to get themselves together. The season is like an extra training camp for the Patriots. 10-6, they may go 9-7 and win the division by 3 games.
Jimmy said 6-10 on Phil Fish.
Yo, that division is poo-poo. Anyway, man. So, speaking of the Patriot way, these guys, once called themselves the Patriots of the NFC, and that is your beloved Philadelphia Eagles. You guys are both Eagles fans. For first thing, before I even ask you guys this question, you guys are 4-1. I have never seen a 4-1 team, complain like that. Because I have a lot of friends, obviously, who are Eagles fans, and
because we're not good.
No, listen, and I understand they're not playing well, but they're complaining more about this 4-1 team than other teams that weren't 4-1. And the last thing I got to say about them being 4-1 is, did you guys hear about what Jason Pierre-Paul said?
No, what did he say?
Yo, they asked him about the Eagles, and this is a quote. He says, I know they're 4-1, but they could easily just be 0-4.
I don't.
That don't even add up.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
They don't even add up though.
He said, I know they're 4-1, but they
the math
could
is,
easily be 0-4.
Math is wrong there. He needs to go back to school. But
That's a direct quote, by the way. I didn't make that up. That's a direct quote. But be honest, here's my question to you guys. It was all about the offense. Chip Kelly, point blank, what's wrong with the Eagles' offense?
The O-line. I mean, it starts with the O-line. That's 75% of the issue with me. At one point in this season, see, first of all, let's talk about this record. I'm gonna get to the O-line, but we haven't really beat anybody other than the Colts, and the Colts offensive coordinator really did us a solid. He looked out because the Colts are better than the team that we face. We beat Jacksonville. That was supposed to happen. We beat the Redskins. They're the doormats of the NFL. That's supposed to happen. So those are 2 wins that you kind of say, we got to get those. The Colts, I think, was a lucky. So I don't know really how good we are. The O-line, we were starting a guy that had a day job last season and another guy that had a day job earlier this season and a third stringer at center. So when you talk about your interior, that was the guard, the center, and the other guard, and people were just sending pressure up the A gap and the other interior gap because you have a statue of a quarterback in Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a standstill, passer, even though he's not playing in that type of offense, and that's where you pressure people who aren't swift of foot. You run blitzers or you run stunts straight up the middle and attack the guard and the center, and that's where our weakness is on the O-line. So now you have Nick Foles, who's still just a second-year quarterback. He plays great when he has time, and when he feels pressure or perceives that there's pressure there, he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes as any other quarterback is. So I think that with him, he's seeing demons, ghosts, and goblins, even when the pressure's not there from getting hit previously. So he's not on his game. He's not on his game, but he's thinking about the hits that he's been taking. And it hasn't been a lot of sacks. And I give him credit in some of those cases for not taking sacks. It's not really sacks, but he still takes the punishment. So even when he does get the right protection, he's nervous. He's nervous.
So I think what B. Austin is saying right now about him, even being nervous, even when he has time behind his line, I think his clock is a little bit fast in his head right now, because he's anticipating possibly getting hit. And I think that's where a lot of the overthrows and the deep balls are coming from. Because people are talking, he's overthrowing receivers. Yeah, but the Eagles had a lot of 20-plus yard passes last season, and contrary to what, certain people believe, they weren't all to Deshaun Jackson. Actually, Riley Cooper was getting in on a lot of the deep ball action last year, and he's not even fast. He's pretty easy to overthrow, and he's doing that a lot this year, but that's because Nick Foles is pulling the trigger too fast, because Nick Foles might be a little nervous right now. He has to calm down. I think as the offensive line starts to solidify itself again, you got Lane Johnson back last week off of suspension. You should get Kelsey back in a certain number of weeks. The offensive line has an opportunity to be whole again during the season. The only thing is they're about to go through a tough 4 or 5 game stretch right now, and they have to keep improving, because one thing, V. Austin was saying that the team is not good, and I think the team is not as good as their record because of mistakes. And,
we're very talented.
Yeah, it's not just the players, because if you look at them when they get down into the red zone, the Eagles can drive down to the red zone, and then they turn into a totally different team, and it's not just the execution. It has a lot to do with red zone play calling as well. So, but I look at this team, I look at the special teams, all around the special teams is the best I've seen it in a decade. And
20
then
years.
The defense
longer than that.
The defense has its moments where they look good and they hold it down. I think the defense is always going to give up yards strictly because they're going to be on the field for most of the game because of the way Chip Kelly runs his offense. So we really can't judge the defense on yardage. But I think they have moments where they're pretty good. Now, all of a sudden, in the past 2 weeks, the offense can't get anything going. The offense, who was averaging, 30-plus points a game in the first 2 or 3, has only managed 2 touchdowns in the last 2. So you look at a team like this, and you say, if all 3 units can ever be hitting on all cylinders at the same time, this team could be scary. But they shoot themselves in the foot in too many areas, and that just hasn't happened yet. But if they can improve, because this is a luxury to be 4-1 while people still think you pretty much suck. Because a lot of people don't get that luxury. When you suck, your record shows that you suck. So I'm thinking this team has the opportunity to improve, while keeping their record, keeping themselves afloat, because they've already won 4 games, and they probably shouldn't have won all 4 of those games. So they have a little bit of a cushion now to keep improving. Hopefully they can get it done. They have a bye coming up after the Giants, and I'm hoping that'll do the team wonders, but they could be scary, but right now they're just not. They're
offensively, and just to touch on, we got to touch on Shady, because that's another point that everybody is talking about.
MC Hammer.
His issues are much the same as Nick Foles. Defensive lines are playing on the other side of the line, especially between the guards. From guard to guard, they're getting penetration. Now, Shady is the type of runner where he does the cabbage patch, the running man, the shmoney dance, the Humpty Hump. He does all of these dances, and we like it. We enjoy it, because when the line is blocking right and he gets a head of steam, when he puts his dancing shoes on, it looks great. But now he's anticipating the penetration, and he's making moves he doesn't need to move to make, because he thinks the hits are coming. But he's taking the ball and he starts getting his dancing man on even before there is, people in the gap. So that and a part of that is it is his fault. So you watch a guy like Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is the savior of the Eagles right now. But Darren Sproles understands his limitations and knows his game. At his size, he doesn't have time to dance. So when he gets the ball, he's out. He's out. Shady is trying to hit the home run. He's trying to make one guy miss, the next guy miss, break a tackle, do a spin move, hit him with a crossover, X button, A button, B, circle, L1, and go. And that's not work. That's not. He has to get north and south a lot faster. He got to get
real
north
quick,
and south.
Because I know we got to move on to the entire division, but to piggyback off your point about Shady, there's a misconception out there from fans who are just using logic that would be logical in certain circumstances, but they're using it without even looking to see if this is actually the case. There's a misconception out there that teams are loading the box against Shady because Nick Foles is struggling, because Nick Foles doesn't have Deshaun Jackson anymore to stretch the field and take the top off the defense, and whatever other dumbass cliches everybody out there wants to use. That is not the case. Please watch the game, and there is a minimal percentage of snaps where there is more than 7 men in the box to combat Shady. If you're watching the games, he's being tackled in the backfield by defensive linemen. What we're not doing is giving the other teams credit for playing good defense, but we just want to make excuses. Deshaun Jackson's not there. They're loading the box. Not true. If you look, people are playing really disciplined in their gaps against Shady. When people used to sell out and chase him to the sideline, they're not doing that right now, because they know even if he doesn't need to, Shady is going to cut back and go the other way. So the guys that are on the weak side are not chasing him all the way over there to the strong side. They're staying in their gaps, staying in their lane. So when he does cut back, because we all know he's going to cut back, they're there to make the tackles, and they're tackling well. Give the other teams some credit. Stop using excuses. It's not Deshaun Jackson. It's not all of this other nonsense with the top being taken off the defense. The Eagles are getting the deep ball. They're getting as many as they want every game. They're just not connecting. So please miss us with all that cliche nonsense. But that's why they're struggling, Jimmy.
You got to teach them. You got to teach them what in the box is, because it's from tackle to tackle, 5 yards back of the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball. And the Eagles' base personnel is always 3 wide receivers flex. That's our base personnel. You cannot put 4 people. You can't put 8 in the box against 3 flex receivers. Mathematically, it's impossible.
You don't have enough people to guard the people that are routing.
Yeah, we run with a tailback and 3 receivers flex, and sometimes 4 receivers flex. The math doesn't work, folks. The math doesn't work. There is no box.
Stop with your cliches. Stop saying cool stuff that you hear on TV, because it doesn't apply in every single situation. I understand the logic that you're going for, but in certain situations, it's a numbers game, and it just doesn't make sense. Watch the game with an analytical eye if you're going to try to speak with an analytical tongue afterwards. That's all.
Yo,
sharp.
Tell them where I'm at.
No sharp.
Well, here's the thing. Right? The Eagles this upcoming week play the New York Football Giants, who have seemed to pick up their offense. Eli Manning, like I said on Phil Vision, has the ability to look like the greatest quarterback in the league on one play, and the very next play look like the complete worst quarterback in the history of the league. Also, the Dallas Cowboys' offensive line has been dominating as of late, and the Cowboys look a little different than we thought they would look. The Redskins, we all thought they would stink, and they proved us right. They do stink. But here's the question, though. Overall, the NFC East, if you look at those top 3 teams, I mean, they're more competitive than we thought they would be. So what do you guys think about the NFC East as of right now?
Woo!
Yeah,
I kind of, if you guys watch Field Vision, WarRoomSportsTV.com, our colleague Frank Santos of Sports-Kings.com, he spoke on it, and I kind of agree with what he said. He was talking about how, the division does look a little surprising right now, but he's giving it some time because B. Austin mentioned it earlier, how the Eagles' schedule, is kind of favorable so far, and it's been that way for every team, well, at least the 3 teams that are, pretty much fighting for the division lead right now. The Giants' toughest opponent so far has been the Atlanta Falcons. The Eagles' toughest opponents have been the Colts and the 49ers, and they lost to the 49ers. The Dallas Cowboys, everybody, including myself, predicted the Saints to do something this year, but they're slowly and steadily showing us that they may not be what we thought they were. So you can give the Cowboys the Saints as an opponent, but in a few weeks that might even be proven to be, an opponent that was a little overrated. So once they get into these division contests, start playing each other, start playing more of those NFC West teams and whoever else they have to play, it will shake itself out. But, teams do look better. Eli and the Giants, the offense finally started to click, and they look a little bit scary on offense. But we all know that's an inconsistent situation that goes on there. Because Jimmy just said it, like Eli can look like the best quarterback in the league, and then 4 plays later, he can look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. The Cowboys, as we discussed on Field Vision, it seems like Jerry Jones has quietly, started doing it the right way in the past 2 or 3 years, drafting these offensive linemen in the first, early in the draft. And I'm thinking, like I said before, if we know he wants the team to be in his image, but we know he likes the sexy position players and likes to build from the outside in. I'm thinking you can still get all the credit. You can still take the methodology that Jimmy Johnson took back in the 90s and make sure your offensive line is beastly first and foremost, but you can do it yourself and still take the credit if you would finally humble yourself and start to make those picks. And it looks like he's actually done that. And this offensive line is looking scary right now, hence making DeMarco Murray look like a beast. And also, that results in Tony Romo not having the pressure of the world on his shoulders, so you'll see less mistakes from him. So, I think pretty much they're legit right now, but their defense still stinks to high hell, so we'll see.
B. Austin.
Yeah.
B. Austin, before you go,
yeah.
I just want to, send a shout-out to the young man who plays for BYU who's playing now. My man got hurt, and they wrapped him up like he was Ramses III on the field. I don't know what kind of injury he got, but they put my man like
your ankle be off.
They mummified him?
Yeah, they mummified him on the field, so they took him off the field.
The AC, what is it, the ACE bandage? Yo, they wrapped his
Ace
whole
bandage.
body in an ace bandage. What happened to him?
Yo, my man looked like Ramses III, yo.
I
He
broke
sprained his
my back.
life. I think he
It
might
was
have sprained his
spinal.
life.
Yeah, spinal. Hey, be awesome. Before you go, also Dev at KCMac38 on Twitter says Seattle is going down this weekend. Go Cowboys. Casey Mack, yo, I'll be confused. One day it's Kansas City.
Yeah.
Next day is whatever's in Texas. Man, you gotta let me know what's
Because
popping.
he's one of those. Casey Mack is one of those fans that roots for where he's from and where he's at. I can't particularly do that because where I am, you know, all the teams in this area
It's the
are
enemy.
rivals of
It's the
my
enemy.
home teams. And I'm only a one team type of dude anyway. But even if I was going to take on that, you know, that style of fandom, like they're all rivals of my team, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a Washington professional football team fan. I can bang with the Baltimore team. I'm like dead smack in the middle. I don't mind the Baltimore teams because I would actually like to see the Orioles win the World Series. Probably somebody from that series, the Orioles or KC. So I can bang with them, and I don't get mad when Baltimore wins the championship, you know, the Ravens. But the DC area, I can't bang with those teams. They're all rivals of the teams that I root for.
Now, be awesome. Going back to you, what do you think about the NFC East? And you don't have to break down every player, by the way.
No, I'm not going to
break down every
I'm
player
stick with
in the whole division.
Cowboys,
The whole division.
Cowboys offense is scary to me because it does feel like they're finally getting it right. And I hate the Cowboys, and I wish them failure in all of their endeavors for the rest of eternity. So it is a little scary to see them coming around. Tony Romo gets a bad rap, man. He gets such a bad rap because he's a very good quarterback. And Jerry Jones brings in these quarterback-centric, throw the ball 75 times head coaches and offensive coordinators who try and put elite-level expectations on Tony when he should just have very good-level expectations. So they try and win on Tony Romo's arm and Tony Romo's arm alone. So now if they're going to balance that out and hand the ball to DeMarco Murray 22 to 25 times a game, and they're just going to pass and be balanced 25 to 27 times a game, that's a little scary with the offensive line and the weapons that they have. As Dev said, their defense is still trash. Not sure about special teams, but here's hoping that Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom can shut all that noise down, at least for this one game. The Giants, D-line, when they win Super Bowls, their D-line is dominant and hungry and mean and angry. Their offensive line protects Eli, and he's surgical. Eli doesn't look like a different quarterback. The problem is when you don't protect Eli, he has no ability athletically below his waist. So, like from the waist down, if Eli's under duress, then it looks like he's a different quarterback, but it's really him getting pressured. He's not mobile in the league. You let him drop back, 5-step drop, read, and pass, he'll pick you apart. And they're protecting him, so he's picking people apart. And that D-line is getting after cats, and Prince Amukamara is balling. So, yeah, the Giants look formidable as well. They look formidable as well. We'll see.
All right,
nobody addresses that other team. Dang, no love for the.
Yeah, they
get no love. Real quick. Yo, we got the homie Rob on real quick. Rob, be very fast. We gotta go, but what's the point you wanted to make?
The Lakers is back. And about the Eagles, Black Sunday. I have my pops with the Giant fans, so I'll be watching it from, the sports bar. We can't be in the same house that day. We can never.
All right, Rob, what's your prediction for the Eagles? What's your prediction?
Y'all might fight in the bar. Y'all might throw beer at each other or something.
What's your prediction for the Eagles Giants game?
Prediction. My prediction is pain. My prediction is this is a statement game. This is a statement game. I'm pumped up. This is a different team. This is not the Andy Reid cushy team. This is hard nosed.
Yo, we run out of the shotgun, Rob.
Huh?
We can't talk. We run out of the shotgun though.
All right, Austin.
It's still a defensive game, man. It's still a defensive game, dude.
Okay.
All right, no doubt. Well, Rob, listen, next week, Rob, call a little bit earlier because we got a roll. We're about to get off the air.
All right.
But thanks for the call, and we'll see what happens at the Eagles game, man. Salute, good brother.
Yo, 17-10, go Eagles, man.
All right.
Already.
No doubt.
Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
We got sound bites for everything people call in and say, yo.
Yeah, but real quick, sticking to that. I need some predictions from you, gentlemen, in terms of some of the bigger games of this week. Let's start right there. Giants, Eagles. Dev, who you got?
I'm actually take the home team on this one. Y'all know I don't do the homer picking. I got the Eagles in that one.
All right, no doubt. Be awesome. Who you got?
I got the Giants.
Yo, I'm picking the Eagles strictly because they're home. It's a toss-up game, and I always take the home team in a toss-up game because that's what I do. All right, let's talk about the Colts at Texans, which is this evening. Colts at Texans. Who you got, B. Austin?
Colts. All day.
Okay.
Easy.
Dev, what about you?
Andrew Luck.
I got the Colts as well with a little bit of resistance by J.J. Watt.
Yo, I feel the same way as you. I'm picking the Colts strictly because of Andrew Luck. But Patriots at Bills for the division. They got Kyle Orton, though. I'm going to go first with this one. I'm taking the Patriots because this is the game when the Bills realize we paid Kyle Orton. What? Dev, who you got?
Yo, I think the game is going to be very, very competitive, but I'm gonna say the Patriots are going to, start that 2-game winning streak and their quest to win this division at 8-8.
All right, B. Austin, how about you, bro?
We paying Kyle Orton. Yeah, I got the Patriots. That's easy.
All right. No doubt. We have the Carolina Panthers at the Cincinnati Bengals, where the Bengals bounce back. B. Austin, staying with you.
Oh, man.
I actually have the Bengals in this one. I got the
Okay,
Bengals.
Deb, what you think?
I picked the Bengals, Jim. A.J. Green is not going to play in this game, so it's making me a little bit skeptical about that pick. But I think Giovanni Bernard is going to go off in the running game and the passing game, and I'm saying that because he's on my fantasy team. He's on my fantasy team, so he better. So I'm going to stick with my pick because I don't think Carolina's that good, but not going to be surprised because he doesn't have his binky out there to throw to.
Bengals. Yo,
Bengals winning.
This is a tough game for me because I think that Carolina is hit or miss. Like some weeks they look like they're the toughest team in the league. Other weeks they look soft, dude. They're like their eighth string running back.
So Jim, you saying they look like the Carolina Eli's?
Yeah, the Carolina Eli's, yo. They're literally like they have their top 3 running backs are hurt. When does that ever happen? Like how you get on your 4th string running back? But
truthfully, their top 2 is hurt every year, man.
That's true.
Stewart is hurt every year.
Yo, Stewart and D'Angelo take turns being hurt. Like, all right, it's your turn, bro. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm gonna take the Bengals in this game. They the home team. So we got 2 more games. You got Bears at Falcons. Who you got, Dev?
Shoot, I forgot who I picked in this game. Bears Falcons. This is in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, you act like Atlanta ain't in America.
I'm gonna go with the Falcons on this one. I'm
gonna
go with the Falcons.
On this. You got?
Bears.
Man, when you have a quarterback like Jay Cutler,
damn, you stole my line.
I forgot to do that. Damn it.
When you got a quarterback like Jay Cutler, man, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and shout out to Robert McClain, friends of the War Room. I'm going with the Falcons.
Yo, I'm going with the Falcons as well. They're playing at home. Plus, when you got a quarterback like Jay Cutler, I'm picking the Falcons. All right, last game, biggest game of the week, some people say. We have the Cowboys at the Seahawks, who play with 22 men on defense. I'm taking the Seahawks for that reason. When they play at home, they cheat somehow. I don't know how, but they get away with it. Dev, who you got?
I have a sneaky suspicion that their home winning streak, or if they're on one, is going to get ended, but I'm still going to pick Seattle. I can't bet against them right now.
Okay, no doubt. B. Austin, what you see?
Yo, Dev, you remember when we used to watch Eagles games about 10 years ago, how we used to enjoy the defense, and when your man was messing up on offense, we just would ignore that and just watch defense?
Just watch the defense,
That's what it's like to watch the Seahawks, man. Yo, they have 18 men on D.
Cool.
Yeah, they cheat somehow. All right, so those are the picks, man. We got through it all, good brothers. Anyway, With that being said, thanks for joining us again in the War Room, good people. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, on Facebook or Twitter. The people that called in, we appreciate the support. Special thanks to Fred Perdue for his college football games of the week. Tune in next week, same time, same place, live right here or on demand on the WRS Podcast Network for some more great sports talk. We'll recap NFL Week 6 and look forward to Week 7, as well as the latest on the Major League Baseball Championship Series. So until then, enjoy your week, and we'll see you right back here next time. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook and Twitter, our videos on WarRoomSportsTV.com, all of our network shows, WRSPN.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. See you chumps on top.
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dez, PJ, B. Austin, Doc Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. It's knocked out. 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dez, TJ, Doc Bay, B. Austin. I'm shot. Up and coming on the team.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.